Hello and welcome to the Fireside Chat. I am Kalpana Singhal, founder and CEO of Techus Media, and today we have Mr. Chaitanya Chokkareddy, co-founder, Chief Innovation Officer at Ozonetel as our guest today. Chaitanya, what are the three things which excites you about your role across the organization? If you can elaborate, please.
Yeah, so basically, right, there are a lot of things which excite me in the role that I am currently playing. But the first and foremost thing is that I get to mentor a lot of engineers while working in this organization and in a startup. And that's the first thing which sort of excites me. Second most important thing is the technology that I work on. And I just look at it and say that, we get to work on all these cool new technologies that come up. We started with back in 2010, we had WebRTC, and now we get to work with Metaverse. So it's always these new things that come up and we have to integrate. So that's what excites me as a second piece. And finally, the third most important thing that excites me is the impact that we sort of have on this whole industry by churning out these new products. So I would say these are the three main things that excite me.
Yeah, certainly the innovation is the best thing, which excites. Yeah. So, Chaitanya, call centers and back offices saw a huge sudden surge in demand during the pandemic. With restrictions on people movement and limited resources, how did call centers cope up with the surge?
If you observe, right, once the lockdown came into effect, and the first things that were removed were certain essential services like groceries or pharmacies, and they were supposed to deliver all this stuff. But once delivery started happening, people have queries. They're supposed to call. If a delivery doesn't happen, they have to call a contact center. So though it was not published, published in the media and everything, the unknown people behind the scenes were these call center agents who were taking calls and helping people through these delivery problems and all that. So the first thing that had to happen was that call centers had to work, even though there was a pandemic that was happening. So though a lot of our customers had already moved to the cloud, it was in a way easier for them. But the problem was that agents had to move into this their home rather than into the contact center. So that was a major change for the contact centers. The software was ready, but the process of having the agents go into their homes and start working, that was where the biggest problems the contact centers faced. But they tried their best, and we were able to help them migrate, and luckily we were successful.
So how do you see the cloud communication services were impacted by the pandemic over the last years, and how are the call centers better prepared to face any future disruption?
Yeah, so that was an important point. We never planned for the pandemic. It was just sort of like a blessing in disguise that a lot of these services are already moved to the cloud. And if you look at it, the one thing which didn't get disrupted during the pandemic was the cloud. The internet services continued to work. And that showed that, the architecture of the internet works, and these cloud softwares also work. But as I pointed out earlier, this time now the startups and the businesses are more ready because they now know how to handle the process also in addition to the software. So I would say that they are much better prepared now.
So as organizations are highly focused on digital transformation with their cloud initiatives, and how do you see cloud communication services to contribute towards their digital transformation efforts?
I'm looking at the way businesses are working here and how digital transformation is helping them move, and how cloud communication is helping this digital transformation. I would say we in India are actually much far ahead than even the US, for that matter, because we've adapted the cloud so much better. If you look at it, right, for example, for us, the landline phase itself has gone. Nowadays nobody uses landline in India. Yeah. So it's mostly mobile. But in the US, landlines are still common. So we have actually gone through that phase where we skipped a generation. And in that respect, right, if you look at it, digital also, we are much better, we are much more ready than any part of the world. And cloud, obviously, I don't think many businesses in India actually are on premise. They've actually, any contact center that comes up now is on the cloud. Whereas in the US, on premise is still a major factor. But India, we are already there in the cloud. And digital is going to make it much more easier. Phone on the cloud is harder, which is a problem we have solved. But if you look at digital communication like WhatsApp support or Facebook support or email or chat, we are ready there. And I think cloud communication will play a major role in that.
Okay, so please talk about your recent innovations and out-of-the-box offerings to increase customer experience, to enhance customer experience when businesses are more dependent on remote operations and customer interactions.
Absolutely. I mean, we had to actually pull up our socks, and we were already innovating. I mean, we were building new products and new features, but the pandemic pushed us forward. We had to innovate at a much faster rate. Why? Mainly because the environment of the agent changed. Earlier, agents were they were coming to this contact center, a space, a particular place, and they would sit in front of a computer, and they would work for 8 hours shifts, and they would leave. But now the agents were sitting in their home. So what happened was the supervisors didn't have a whole view of their agents. So what we had to do was build a lot more analytics on top of our system, first of all. So the couple of innovations that we did was, first was a screen recording feature. So where we allowed the businesses to record the interactions of an agent on their laptops because they were in home. You understand, right? I mean, because supervisors can't see the agent laptop like they used to when they were in office. So we allowed a screen recording feature wherein a supervisor can look at what an agent is doing and guide them through how to help their customers. So that was one innovation that we launched during the pandemic time. The other thing was speech analytics, where we applied a lot of our AI backend to track agent conversations and give real-time input to the supervisors. For example, let's say we are having this call and I get angry and I shout. If you are in a single location, the supervisor knows that somebody is shouting. He looks at the agent, he goes to the agent and says that, hey, calm down and all that. But if there are 60 agents and they are working in 60 different houses, there's no way a supervisor is going to know about that unless he has the right alerts. So we worked on analyzing the calls in real time and intimating to the supervisor that, hey, look, this agent needs help, go and help him. So I think these are two major features which we worked on.
For more updates from CXO TV, please like and subscribe to our channel.